Senator Robin Padilla is the most preferred 2028 senatorial candidate in the latest OCTA research survey. 53.9% of respondents chose Padilla. This makes him the only candidate with a reported rank range limited to a single position. Senator Raffy Tulfo followed with 47.4%, while Senate Minority Leader Alan Peter Cayetano is third with 45.5%. We're also seeing former Senator Grace Poe's name in the list with 44.5%. Pasig City Mayor Vico Soto, who has time and again said he is not running for a national position in 2028, rounded up the top five with 42%. Other senatoriables in the OCTA Magic 12, Senators Loren Legarda, Jinggoy Estrada, Chis Escudero, Mark Villar. Former Senators Manny Pacquiao and Coco Pimentel, Davao Congressman Pulong Duterte, broadcaster Ben Tulfo, former Makati Mayor Abby Binay, and Tiesa COO Mark Lapid. OCTA's Tugon ng Masa survey was conducted between July 4 and 11 among 1,200 registered voters. Now let's discuss this further with OCTA Research President Ranjit Rai. Good evening, Professor. Welcome again to The Big Story.
Good evening.
All right, let's go first.
Good evening to our televiewers.
To the senatorial preference survey with Robin Padilla as a solid number one. And other Duterte allies also in the Magic 12.
Yes, you know, they're very popular. These are popular names, established names. It happened to be that you know, they're also aligned with a former president and his coalition. But these are established names already. Robin Padilla was number one when he last ran. So these are established names and incumbents, no? So the you know, the advantage of the incumbent is very clear here. But there are also other names who are past senators who have you know, also established political families, no? There are some surprising names in the list. Vico Soto is one. Ben Tulfo, no, seems to be still quite popular. But everyone else is an established political name. Or either they are incumbents or past senators.
Exactly, Prof. How can an unknown with a good track record, with a good name, and wants to serve the country ever make it to the Magic 12 if all we vote for are based on personality and name recall?
Yeah. Well, you know, it's also the list says, you know. So, you know, it's also affected by the list, who the names are on our list.
So you provided a list. They just had to show
because quite a number are subscribers, so they just wanted to know what was the preference. So that's one. Number two, you have to also understand that, you know, name recall is very important, and established political family is also important. But number three, most Filipinos can only fill up between 1 to 7 names right now. So the interview will force them to fill out names. They'll just probably fill it up with people they already know. Okay. So it's also that, no? Important to understand, Seth, that these are not forecasts. These are not written in stone. These are just snapshots of possible candidates in 2028. It's so long from now, no?
So may pag-asa pa. May pag-asa pa. I mean, it's early.
Yeah, may pag-asa. Yeah, may pag-asa pa. You look at Heidi. Since Heidi...
Didn't you put her name?
What you call this? Yeah, her name is here. Heidi Mendoza. Di ba? And our very own Ronald Llamas. Oh, look at that. Oh, may 2.8. Ronald Llamas is last on the list. So there's hope for the country. Di ba? There's one guy here, Attorney Dino De Leon, who's actively an activist on social media. He got 7%. That's a big thing. Nobody knows who he is, no? Very few of us actually know of his activism.
Okay.
But obviously he's doing well on social media. And the rest are really established names. No? Benjamin Magalong, Vince Dizon is still there. So it's still quite a long time, and so these numbers will change. They're not written in stone, and they're not a forecast, and that's why it's important for us to understand that these are just snapshots, and
And
that these
also,
numbers
I
will
guess
change.
if you're number one, there should be more scrutiny now on how you're performing and if you really deserve to be reelected, right?
Yeah,
Okay. Now,
especially now, in this climate of impeachment, people are really gonna scrutinize how all of these incumbents who are leading now are performing.
right. You said that these are all many Duterte allies. However, the VP suffered a decline, and this was because the survey was taken when the impeachment trial had started. Correct?
Yes, yes,
So
ma'am.
can we conclude, or is it too early to say that there is already a dent on the VP because of the impeachment trial, a dent on her numbers?
I think it's safe to say that she got a hit. What was affected in her numbers were both trust and performance. There was an 8 percentage point drop in her trust, which never really happened as far as the VP was concerned. No, so there were, and given that she has no portfolio, she's not really doing anything as far as performance is concerned. So you can only really attribute, no, although we're not saying it, it's the only causal factor. But you can say that a big influence would have been, or big impact would have been, the fact that the impeachment trial started. There was a massive social and traditional media coverage of this. So yeah, maybe that affected her numbers. Now, going forward, it's been a month of trials, so much evidence out. Do you really expect her numbers to improve? I mean, the likelihood that her numbers were going to suffer are always there. But she could
However,
rebound. No?
if I may point out, I just had Attorney Kapunan here on the show, and she was bewailing the way the trial is being portrayed on social media. So, if it benefits the Duterte following, the news that's seen on social media, then it may not cause a big hit.
Well, the fact of the matter is that says it did cause a big hit, and that was just the first week. So we don't expect, at least, I mean, in that these numbers will improve significantly because the second, third, and fourth week were very damning evidence came out. Now, we don't know. We can't say, we haven't run our own third quarter survey. But if in the first week of the trial, this was already the impact, what more over the next month or so? Now, OCTA is now working with an institute in the University of the Philippines, the Institute of Math, who's doing sentiment analysis. So even when you look at the social media sentiment, there was a hit. No, it wasn't as significant as the survey, but it sort of looked like our survey findings also. So there was a hit. It's not insignificant, and it's something that we feel if the VP is unable to respond, no, through her defense, through her engagement in social media, this decline might continue. Might it may not
Okay.
continue, but it might.
All
Likely,
right.
it might continue.
Now let's go to President Marcos. Is there going to be a free fall in his numbers? Because the decline is
Well,
steady.
yeah, it's very possible. It's very possible. But in the case of the president, it was his performance rating that really suffered, not his trust. No? Although they went down, or both vice president and president went down, and the president's numbers are deeply affected by the way he's dealing with the socio-economic impact of this crisis, no, brought about by the conflict in the Middle East. It
Now,
doesn't seem that
right.
that conflict is resolving. So we might likely get worse before we get better. So the president's response to the hardship brought about by this crisis on our kababayans is will likely have an impact on whether his performance and trust numbers improve, or will they further decline. But here's something to note, despite the national decline, In fact, when you look at the numbers, which we provided everyone in TV5, his numbers, President's numbers in Class E and in balanced Luzon actually improved in performance. So that means
So,
the ayuda economics, no, that the president was pushing, at least as a short-term response to the crisis, seemed to have helped because he did not decline in Class E. That was the only class he did not decline in. But on the whole, nationally, his numbers went down in
okay.
balanced Luzon, in Mindanao. So all of these
And
things, yeah.
with his recent SONA, where he really focused on other social safety nets, you expect this to also be welcomed by the maybe D and E?
But I think mostly D. That's where he suffered the biggest decline. The middle class is suffering very badly. They're not getting any help or not getting sufficient help from the government. The government put all the resources and targeted it to the very poor, Class E. Which is why in the survey, you'll notice he actually gained. Positive siya sa Class E in our survey. So he has to provide the same kind of safety net, the same kind of programs for a broader set of the population. I guess that was the focus of the SONA.
Sige.
That's
Prof,
why he's asking for tax relief and all of these things.
right. Before we go, I'd like to discuss at least the concerns of the people, and you did study that heavily in this survey or ask very pertinent questions. Ano po yung mga top concerns ng mga Pilipino?
Thank you, Ces, for pointing to that. That's, I think, the most important survey finding in our quarterly surveys. Number one is controlling inflation, 37%. Number two is increasing wages, which have been stagnant for many years at 34%. And number three, and this is surprising, not surprising, but this is showing that this is a continuing challenge, no? And an important issue is fighting graft and corruption. Number four is access to affordable food. And number five is free quality education. Now, what changed here? Number three was number five in the last quarter. So fighting graft and corruption has been and continues to be an important issue for our kababayans, almost as important as controlling inflation. So this is the signal. This is also what was discussed in the SONA. And I hope that the president means what he says and says what he means when he wants to tackle these top
delivers on his,
and delivers, of course, yes. That's what I mean, that he has to deliver because the SONA is meaningless if there's no implementation. The SONA can really only be measured based on what has been promised and what has been delivered.
Well, you know, he signed off on the BIR, on the tax records of VP Sara. We weren't expecting that, although Ronald Llama said he would. But yung sinabi niyang ilagay na yung MAIFIP sa PhilHealth para wala nang pila-pila-pila at mga kuha ng signatures, tignan natin kung kaya niyang gawin yon when he gives the NEP.
Yes, that's true. When you say what you mean and mean what you say, you will see it in the budget. And that's, I think, the focus of the president. The focus is on education and health, which is also our top two personal concerns. So, you know, he's listening to the surveys, obviously. We also gave them these surveys much, much earlier. And so, you know, it's important that the president responds to the urgent needs of our people.
When's the next survey?
September. It's been a busy year. Oh, yeah. But at least we were able to capture some of the more important things happening in the life of our nation. And that's what we do in OCTA. We're just messengers. We just show this data and for everyone to know.
Amazing that you can see already an impact. Like sabi mo, tumaas ang E because of the ayuda. No? So these surveys are really important to let us know.
It's a hypothesis. That says it's a hypothesis. We're not saying it caused it, but it's a possible thing.
Yeah.
It's a possible. No? Kasi why ba tumaas eh? We were all started.
Siya lang ang
Everything
tumaas.
else went down. Siya lang tumaas. Yeah.
I'm sorry, we have to say goodbye at this point. Ang daldal kasi ni Attorney Lorna Kapunan. Thank you so much, OCTA Research President Ranjit Rai.